Faber-Castell, what magic witchery have you done that you didn't tell me about? That's what we are here to figure out. Hi, my name is Jennifer Stay. This is Coloring Bliss, and this is our weekly live event, part 2. And this is inspired by our unexpected results from last week's live event, where we discovered that Faber-Castell has a secret that they've been keeping for 300 years, 400 years, a long time. And obviously it's not a really well-kept secret, but I didn't know this, that from tool to tool to tool of some of their lines, their colors match. And that's what we're testing. Is it true? Do they really match? How well do they match? And if so, how do they do this magical thing? And why did I not know about it? And how can I use it to my advantage in my coloring? It's so exciting. So last Saturday, my husband and I went down to our local art store, Blick, and bought some more colors from different lines. We believe it's any of the Faber-Castell lines that have this green color to them, so it's more their artist lines. So it's their Pitt artist pens, their Albrecht Durer lines, the watercolor markers, the watercolor pencils, the Polychromos, and we learned from our first hour over on Facebook that their pastel pencils are also part of this system. So one pencil, like this one here, the Pale Geranium Lake number 121, is consistently the same color from line to line to line. So we're testing that today between 4 of the different products in this system. It's so cool to me that it does this. Yeah. So I really hope this is true. We have 2 of the colors down so far. I'm going to show you what we're doing. We've got 2 more to go. I'm going to show you the brand new watercolor markers. They're really expensive, so they better be pretty awesome. They're a double-ended watercolor marker. Do they match the Polychromos pencil? I have a really hard time believing this. A marker matching a pencil? This is witchcraft. And then they have their India ink, which is a totally different creature. Does it match as well? And I'm going to show you the secret about the Pitt artist pens here in just a minute. And at the end of this video, I'm going to show you the other products we couldn't help but purchase while we were at Blick that will be an upcoming video here on our YouTube channel. So I'm glad you're here. I'm so excited to share this discovery that I've made about Faber-Castell. Comment below. Did you know that Faber-Castell does this?
Camilla says she just checked her Faber-Castell Gold Faber in both aqua and coloring pencils have the same color system.
Oh, so maybe it's not just the green packaged ones. We have so much to learn. I've been trying to, I went on Faber-Castell's website to see if there was an info page where I could learn more about this, and it's not plainly written somewhere where you can learn about how their coloring system works. But maybe I just haven't come across it yet. I wish it was just very plainly laid out in front of us somewhere on Faber-Castell's website. It's so strange to me that it's not just right there. Look at what our tools do. Isn't this amazing? I wish it was more, or I would have known that it did this, because I'm just so excited. So before we dive in and show you exactly what we've been doing over on Facebook for the first hour, I want to show you our new coloring pages that I've been drawing for all of you. This is our Valentine art for 2020. I'm so excited. I have the very first page right here, and it is free. Free for everyone. Come and get it. It's free for a limited time. So all you need to do is come on over to Coloring Bliss. I've got 2 free for a limited time for Valentine's. This one I just drew. It's a really fun little Valentine mandala. So come on over to become a free member. To download this, all you need to do is register, and we protect your email. It's just me and Steve here at Coloring Bliss, so don't be worried that we'll share your email with everybody. Nope, we don't do that. So no worries. Come and become a member, and you can download this mandala right here. We also have free for a limited time this fun countdown to Valentine's. This is what we did last year to celebrate Valentine's. So if you decide to download this and do a countdown, you'll have to do a little catch up. We're already on the 5th day on the way to Valentine's, so you'll have to hurry and do a little coloring. But this is a really fun way to just do a little bit of something creative every day on your way to Valentine's. And we also have some new art, which is in the premium library. If you want access to the premium library, which has over 500 coloring pages, worksheets, swatch charts, amazingness, all you need to do is become a Bliss colorist, partner, or apprentice. A Bliss colorist is the least expensive of our member levels, and it's only $5 a month. And you get access to the entire premium library for an entire month. And our new art, this is the first one for celebrating all things love and Valentine's Day. It's a really fun one. It says love, and these flowers here were inspired by some beautiful machine embroidered flowers that I saw, and I just fell in love with them, and I kind of did my own twist and inspiration from those flowers. So that's the first one. This is the second one right here. Just a really fun, lots of details to color. If you're into coloring tiny little details, I'm excited to color like metallic little squares and just make this one shine like crazy. So this one will be fun for people who like to color details. And those of you who love my gnomes, you'll be very excited about the next one. And that's this one right here. Ta-da! A new gnome for everybody to enjoy. So please come and get this one. It's also in the premium library. He's got a cute little bird friend here sitting in his little tree, his love tree. And I've actually already colored this one and this one. If you're a Bliss partner, you've had early access to both of these coloring pages, and I'll show you real quick how my colored versions of both of these pages turned out. Let me show you. This is my binder where I keep, there's my gnome. We played a coloring game last week during our Bliss Partner workshop, and I had to use a certain color scheme, and I had to get it colored within a certain time allotment. So I was under some certain restrictions during our coloring game, and I think he turned out really adorable, especially considering my restrictions. And then this one was also one I colored with the Bliss partners. And this one I used an analogous color scheme. So I had to use 3 colors on the color wheel that were next to each other. And last month, the whole theme for our Bliss partners for our workshops was on color picking and getting better at choosing our colors. So we were talking about using an analogous color scheme to sort of exercise our color picking muscles. So this is how mine turned out. Hopefully that inspires you a little bit to do some coloring. That's so much fun. And if you'd like to join us over on our Bliss Partners, we would love to have you come. We're starting this month discussing and practicing and learning more about coloring backgrounds on our coloring pages. The first workshop is starting tomorrow. So we'd love to have you join us. Just go on over to Coloring Bliss and click on the member link, and you can learn all about becoming a partner. But even if you don't come in right on time to start the background workshops, it's okay, because it all gets archived. In fact, we have over a year's worth of workshops archived there. And as a Bliss partner, you get access to all of it. So it's a very good investment and well worth your time. So now that I've done my little spiel on our new coloring pages, don't forget to come and get the free ones before they go back into the premium library. Follow the link in the video description. Make sure you hit a thumbs up on this video if you like this kind of content, and let's get into the Faber-Castell products. I have so much to tell you about, and here it is so far what we've done. So I have this swatch page right here. We've got cobalt green number 156 lined up on the right. Down the middle we have 112 leaf green, and on the left we have pale geranium lake number 121. And then we've got across the top the Polychromos that we all love so much. And then this one right here that we just finished doing over on Facebook is the Albrecht Durer watercolor pencils. These are the ones that we were playing around with last week that we had so much fun comparing and we were so shocked by. So now what we're going to do is bring up these new guys right here. These are brand new to Faber-Castell. They're the Albrecht Durer watercolor markers. So I've only peeked briefly at these, so let's look at them together. This is what they look like. They're quite a big tool. Let me compare it to you to a Copic. A lot of us are familiar with the size and shape of a Copic. So they're a little bit longer than a Copic, but not as long as a Tombow. So you have a little comparison in size. They're round, which is nice. Do they roll? They've got some little nubbins on the caps to help them not roll away, but they're still pretty roly-poly. They're a double-ended tool, so it looks like we've got a little bullet nib on one side, and on the other side, oh, we've got a big brush nib, and the cap stack. Okay, we just have to have a moment to appreciate the fact that the cap stack.
Yes, very good.
Okay, I want to compare this brush nib with, say, Copics, because that seems like a really big brush nib. It's the same length, but it's like chubbier.
Speaking of appreciation, Laura said...
Look at that. Oh, sorry.
Laura wants me to know how much she appreciates what you do.
Oh, I'm so glad that you appreciate it. I have so much fun. Okay, now we need to do the smell test. Now these are water-based, so technically they shouldn't have much of a smell. Let me smell the Tombow. Yeah, Tombow has like no smell. Let's see if these guys have a smell. Oh, I think there's a bit of a smell. Yeah.
Not much.
Smell the green.
Yeah, a little bit, but it's not like headache inducing.
It's not like an alcohol marker, that's for sure.
No, not at all.
Where alcohol marker, you're like, whoa, you know.
It kind of smells good.
Ooh,
I
Steve
like
likes it. Okay, so that's these guys. Steve, how much are these bad boys?
I don't know. You say you thought you remember
I
them
remember
being...
them being like $5 or $6 a pop. We bought these open stock because we couldn't afford a set. We just bought 3 because we couldn't afford more than 3. So that's why we're just comparing 3 colors today.
Wow, 30 of them are $106. Huh?
Yeah, so
a package of 10 is $61.
Yeah, so $6.
Package of 5 is $27.06. So yeah, around
six. If you buy 30 of them, it gets it down to more like $3. No. Yeah. 3 something each. That's pretty good.
Yeah.
So anywhere from $3 to $6 each. So pretty pricey. I don't know if they're refillable. I don't know if they're going to have replaceable nibs. I have no knowledge on all of this. I know that they're, let's see. Pigment ink, water soluble with high light fastness. That's my knowledge. So let's see. Now, we know that these, the Polychromos and the Albrecht Durer, so far every pencil we have tested between these 2 lines, color match beautifully. Kind of makes sense. They're both pencils. I guess they could use the same pigment, just different fillers. So this makes sense. This is where it starts to get confusing to me. So we're going to see if they match.
So, by the way, Bev says you're teaching us more about Faber-Castell than they teach about their own products.
I know. They need
awesome.
to hire me, huh? And send me to Germany.
That's right.
Sign me up. I'd have to bring Rose, though.
Yeah.
She'd have to learn German. Can you bark in German? Rose, can you bark in German? She says yes. Oh, by the way, look at my beautiful flowers. My husband gave them to me. Okay, here we go. First one. Let's see. If you enjoyed this video, make sure you hit a thumbs up and share. Okay, I did my YouTube job. Oh, I'm so nervous. Okay, should I do it? I'll do it the same way. We'll color like 2/3 of the square, and then we'll activate it with a little water just to see what it does.
Okay.
Okay, here we go. Are you learning German yet, Rose? What if Faber-Castell watches this and says, yes, we need to send Jennifer, her husband, and her cute dog to Germany? What do we think?
Yes.
It maybe has a little more blue. Well, let's let it dry. Remember, this is water-based product. You always have to let it dry.
I don't even... Well, you're not on watercolor paper, will it?
We're not on watercolor paper. We're on just good old cardstock.
We should try on watercolor paper, too.
We will. Oh, boy, will we ever. Let's try activating it. It's not going to activate really great because we are on just plain cardstock.
Supergirl says Rose needs to learn German Shepherd.
Okay, it's not going to activate great. We know it won't because we're not on watercolor paper. Steve.
Yes, Jennifer.
What's the difference between cardstock and water? It's not activating at all because the paper is just like, nah, no, not going to do it. We knew it wouldn't, but we had to try.
Yeah.
What if magic happened and it worked? We had to try.
Right. It would have been magic.
It would have been magic. Okay.
Because watercolor paper has sizing.
Yeah. Okay.
Which is a spray that they put on it, a treatment that they put either spray onto the paper or they embed in the paper in the manufacturing process that repels water. And that is the main difference between watercolor paper and any other paper.
Okay, so there's the green. Let's let that dry down now and see how it matches those two. So that's, I'm just double checking, leaf green 112. Okay, I'm going to double check, double. Pale green lake 121.
Or you mean pale geranium?
Yeah, pale geranium lake 121. Okay, we've got one more, is cobalt green. And then once we're done with the color matching process, I want to really test out this nib. It feels really good so far. Oh, we got a problem. This is a very juicy marker. It's a good problem, but it's a bit of a problem. I'd rather have it be.
Colorful Life says, I'm learning so much from your channel. Thank you so much.
Oh, I'm glad. Okay, there's the three colors. Now we're just going to let that sit and do its thing. While it's sitting and doing its thing, this is from last week. If you were with us last week, you would recognize that. Let's hit it on here. Those same three colors real quick. So this is watercolor paper now. So this paper has the sizing, all those good things that Steve just taught us about. Here's leaf green. So I want to see if we get a different color payoff. And we're going to activate it with water. Wow, this is a juicy marker, man.
Oh, it's so much prettier on there.
Yeah. Now we'll activate it with water. That'll let the white of the paper come up through, and we'll get some undertone. Okay. Again, the green.
So much better on the right paper.
Yeah, paper, we say it all the time, you got to pair the right tool with the right paper to get the right payoff, the right result. So where you can use these on regular cardstock, you can do anything you want. It's your art tools, right? But if you want the best results, you want to match the right tool with the right paper to get the best results. So
Polly's still wanting you to give her a list of stuff you want for the Blick.
Okay, now I'm going to bring in, this is the Albrecht Durer, same color.
This is the watercolor.
This is the watercolor pencil.
Yeah, that's a more fair test.
Yeah, we're just going to do them right here. While we're letting that dry up there. And then we're going to bring in the Pitt pens. Pitt pens are their answer to their permanent pencil, their permanent marker, sorry. Okay. Trying to lay down a lot here so we got a lot of pigment to activate. Okay. And the Polychromos. We'll just do a little swatch over here real quick. And a red. Oh, Jennifer, making a mess. Okay. Pull it out. Pull it out. Okay. Interesting. Very interesting.
Yeah.
Okay, let's let that sit for a second, and now let's bring up the Pitt pens. Okay, so unlike alcohol markers, these are India ink. Okay, so let's read what it says on the side. Oh, no, not India, Indian. I always say India. It's Indian ink. They're waterproof and they're light fast. Okay, Steve, are these light fast?
Alcohol markers are not light fast.
They are not light fast. It took me forever to understand this. Alcohol markers, Copics, Prismacolor alcohol, all of them, everywhere from the most expensive alcohol marker down to the El Cheapo Oh-hoo-hoos, none of them are light fast. So if you color something with an alcohol marker, you need to protect them, put them behind UV protected glass, or put them in a sheet protector in a binder. You know, protect them from sunlight. Don't put it up on your fridge and leave it there because it will fade. I have so many faded things, and some colors are really fast. Like in my Blicks, the ultramarine, the ceruleans. They fade so fast. I don't know what it is about the cerulean blues. They fade the fastest out of all of them. So it's a real problem. Illustrators love alcohol markers because the colors lay down fast, brilliant, bright colors, and you can get really bold colors, good blends. All those are really great things. But usually illustrators will then scan their art or take a photograph and use that as their permanent image. Then you're not worrying about light fast, right? So if you want to color something and get a permanent or more light fast result, you've got to look somewhere other than alcohol ink. There's a lot of options out there, and one of them is Indian ink right here in my little hand. So these are the Faber-Castell Pitt Artist Brush pens. So let's see how they color match first, and then I'll show you the cool little secret there is about these little guys right here. Okay, so let's see. We need a drum roll. Okay.
Nice drum roll.
Thanks. Oh, let me show you. This is the brush ones. B for brush. And they also come in these big chubby boys with a big old brush. I wonder if it's the same. Do they stack? They do. Let's see if it's the same brush as what they're using. Yes, identical. So they've taken the same brush from the big chubby boys and put it into their new watercolor. So this is the more fine, and these are more readily available from what I've seen. Like you can get these at like Michael's and stuff like that. Do these stack? Yep. Oh, well done, Faber-Castell. Okay, so here we go. Let's see how these boys match. No smell, at least not the red one. So you can get them in a chisel nib, fine point nib. They have all kinds of nibs. And you know what you've got in your hand by the little letter at the back end of your pen on the cap. And, oh, the letter is here too. Okay. So that's the red. Let's put a little bit of that here too with our watercolor paper. Test. Okay. Here comes green, leaf green 112. You can get nice fine lines, see, with that tiny little brush. I'd love a full set of these too. But they're a little pricey too. What do we think so far?
Yeah. I mean, I would be surprised. I would be so shocked if they were exact. Like we said,
again,
going from pencils to markers.
This
but
is
what
a
I'm seeing so
totally
far,
different creature.
I mean, they're really close. You know, enough that I think if you were mixed media coloring,
yeah,
that you could probably get away with it.
Well, it'd be like trying to color match or, I don't know, flavor match toothpaste to brownies.
Toothpaste.
I don't know. I was trying to think of two really random things. Like you could make brownie flavored toothpaste, but it would be really difficult and it would never really taste like brownies because brownies are brownies.
That's right. They are, Jennifer.
Now I want brownie flavored toothpaste. You would get every single kid to brush their teeth, only they'd be eating it. You'd walk in and they'd be like,
You're funny.
oh, that was random. Okay, here we go. Give me a thumbs up for brownie flavored toothpaste. I don't know how good of an idea that is. Okay, and here's our final color. Our number Cobalt Green 156. Yeah, these have no smell. They're pretty streaky, just like a water-based marker. Oh, I didn't do my last little swatch. Over here. See how they look on a different paper. They'll always be, water-based markers will always be less streaky on watercolor paper. That's why we like printing our coloring books on watercolor paper. If you didn't know, Coloring Bliss does print their coloring books. We print our coloring books on watercolor paper. Okay. All right. What do we think? Let me slide her down. On the cardstock, what do we think? I think, I'll let you say first. You're the color, I would say in this relationship, you're the color master and I'm the apprentice.
Oh, really?
As far as color comparing.
Well, I would say the watercolor on cardstock.
I can't get you on there, then they won't be able to see.
Okay. Oh, I guess we could go. Hello. Okay, let's try this again. Let's go like this. Okay.
There, that's better. Now they can see you ponder
Yes.
your color choices.
Pontificate.
Oh, is that a real word?
It is. I would say definitely the pencils are super, super close. Like you said, you would never see the difference.
Yeah.
The watercolor markers of Albrecht Durer, that red is just a bit off.
It
Has more blue in it, yeah.
Yeah.
The green is closer. The green's
darker.
Yeah. And same with the blue. It's a little bit darker, but it's really close.
I'm glad that if you're going to err on the side of darker, in my opinion, because with water-based products, you can always add water to it to bring the white through.
Which I think is what we're going to see on the watercolor.
Yeah, we'll see.
So, those on regular cardstock, we already know that they're not going to work real well. Watercolor markers are not going to work very well on cardstock.
Yep.
Without sizing. Pitt artist pens, let's see. Yeah.
The tone
Yeah.
They almost seem better with the Polychromos. The green does.
Yeah. I mean, if you start looking into the part of this that that's wet, it's really close.
Yeah.
And I think that the blue matches a little better too. It's still a little tiny bit off, but wow.
It's better than I thought it was going to be.
This is the one that I think is really interesting.
Okay, so we have Polychromos. We have the Albrecht Durer watercolor marker. We have the Albrecht Durer watercolor pencil. And then we have the Pitt pen down here, which I still need to show you the secret of the Pitt pen here in just a second.
Okay. So looking at these Polychromos.
So I'll put PC for Polychromos. And this is the Albrecht Durer marker. This is the Albrecht Durer pencil. And then this is the Pitt pen.
Yeah. So I think here they're much more close on watercolor paper. Like those reds, the red at the top. Look how much better that marker looks. And especially when you compare it. That's funny because now the pencil is looking like it has... This looks like it has more yellow now, and this is less yellow when it's pulled out, the undertones. But, I mean, still, like I said, I mean, if you were mixed media coloring, I don't think you'd know much of a difference. This is a little more blue, but the undertones, that's interesting. And then this is a little faded on here.
Yeah, it's paler.
But you can see that it's still in the same family for sure.
Yeah.
The green, now that's fantastic.
Yeah.
The marker again with the Polychromos on the green. You get over to here. Once again, it comes out more yellow here where it came out more blue over here. That's interesting.
It's very interesting.
But and then that's different.
This has got way more gray. Is that
black? I mean, it's just darker.
It's got some.
Yeah.
It's like. Yeah.
Because
but
when
you pull it out,
you look at Polychromos and the Albrecht Dürer watercolor.
But look at when they're activated with water, they look identical.
Yeah, they're really close, activated with water. Yep.
That's
and then
cool.
the Pitt pen looks great. Again, the Pitt pen almost looks a little in between, but wow.
Now, Pitt pens are supposed to be waterproof, so I'm going to put that to the test. I've never tested them to see how waterproof. Come on, we're really going to push it. You would never. Okay, it's activating a little bit. But I am like abusing it to get it to activate. So you have to abuse it to make that activate. So that's cool.
Yeah, I mean, overall, I'm impressed.
So the cool thing about this is now, like, if you were coloring, you could secretly mix in both. See, you can't tell. Could you tell that I have two different pencils going?
No, not at all. What about the markers?
Let's go the reds. Let's stick with the same family. I'm going to try the bullet nib this time. And okay, I got pens going everywhere, people. Okay.
I'm curious to see you color it up by the pencils.
Okay. That's so cool. Like,
yeah.
You have to be hyper picky to see the difference. Now we're going to let it dry down, because as it dries down, it will change. Anytime you work with a wet media, you got to let it dry and then you take your analyzing. But you have to be hyper picky to see the differences, which is what we're doing. That's our job, is to be hyper picky for your sake.
Try that same thing now with the other colors.
Let's go green.
Because that's impressive.
Okay. Just gonna mix them in and see if you guys can see where one kind of pencil starts and where the other one ends.
Danny's wondering about layering the pans. Aspie's wondering about adding water to it.
Oh, there's so many possibilities. We're gonna move over to, we're gonna do some blue-green here too. Oh, sorry. Yeah, you can't tell with the pencils where one begins and one ends. That is so exciting for possibilities of how to interact and move between the two products. That's really cool. Okay, we did the 3 pens. Let's try the markers now. Back to bullet. Okay. So you can tell a little difference here, like we saw up here. This one's got a lot of gray blackish undertones in it. And I think as it dries down, you'll be able to see that I was swapping between 2 different pens. Okay. Oh, cap on the right way here. Can't wait to show you the secret. I'm so good at this.
Yes, you are.
I'm getting better at my YouTubey skills. Okay, bullet nib. I kind of colored myself into a corner here. Oh, that's pretty good, those two. That Pitt pen's trying to activate something underneath it. I am impressed. You have to be extremely picky. Again, which is our job. It's to be very picky.
Yeah, the only one is that blue.
The blue-green.
The blue-green just doesn't quite match as well as the green and the red. I would guess that if you were to go across the whole color spectrum, you're going to find that would be true. Some would match better than others, you know.
Yeah.
And it probably depends on what pigments they're using, or inks or dyes or whatever.
Well, and that's, you know, true of any art tool. Like in general, for instance, Polychromos, the outside of a Polychromo pencil matches what happens when you color really, really well. But there are a few exceptions where the outside does not match what's going to happen when you color. So I would think that the same is going to happen here. There's going to be a few exceptions where the colors from tool to tool aren't going to match. But so far, we're kind of...
I am curious now to see, like, what would you do, like a S through there with water, with your brush
pen? You want
pen?
me
like
to activate it?
Part of it, not the whole thing, but just, I'm curious to see what it looks like.
What's your vision for this activation?
Just that you get at least some line through all 4.
You want me to drag it through? It's going to pull the red pigment down into the green.
I don't know what I'm picturing. I guess
I don't know what you're picturing either.
You'd have to squiggle, you know, like draw a line.
You want me to go like this?
And then up through, you got to get over into the marker over there.
Oh. I don't know what you want me to do.
Well, I just want to see a part of it at least when it's wet and just see if it changes.
Like that?
Oh, that's great.
Okay. I don't know how much water was on that. Okay. All right.
Yeah, it doesn't really change anything.
See, but this is part of what I'm excited about right here. Like, we work so hard as color pencil colorists to get rid of the white of the paper. But we can sneak now. It's a sneak attack to get rid of the white of the paper, because we can lay down that Albrecht Durer like this and get the white of the paper to just goodbye white, and then let that just go away, and then
dry, and then color on
and
top
then
of
come back with our really good I need to let it dry.
Say.
Then you come back with your Polychromos and do all your details and build in your in all of your layers. And
well, if you know, and you think about the look of watercolor,
it lifts too because it's real watercolor.
I'm excited to see watercolor as a base layer.
Yeah.
You know, because we use the markers all the time, alcohol markers, as a base layer, and that works really well.
Yep.
But now a watercolor as a base layer.
Yep.
Could be really interesting.
All right, so I still have a couple questions that I want answered. But first, before we do that, I'm going to show you the secret of the Pitt pen. And then I want to take these guys here and put them to a little bit of a test. I want to see how those brush marker tips work. So far, I'm pretty impressed. I better be impressed for the cost. I'm still a little astounded by the cost of these boys. So let me show you. Oh, and we're running out of time, too. Okay, so let me show you what the Pitt pen's, the secret of the Pitt pen.
Okay, I got it. I don't even know the secret.
No, so to reveal the secret, I'm going to need my tweezers.
What?
So let me show you what these guys do. So they have a really delicate brush nib. And in case you did not know and you own these or plan now that you've seen all that these guys do, if you purchase these, the nib on these guys is double-ended. Yeah, so let me show you that. I've got to get a whitish background so you can see. So we're going to very gently remove this nib like that, and see? We have a double-ended nib. So if you're coloring along and this nib starts to fray or get a little dull and you can't get that really sharp line that you're after, before it gets too worn down, gently pull it out. You don't have to have fancy tweezers like this, but it helps. Gently pull it out, swap it around, and slide it back in. And you can look at one of your other markers to make sure you're putting it in far enough. Just gently slide her back in and you're golden again.
Very nice.
Isn't that cool? Not many markers do this. Can you name the other one that we here on this channel discovered has a double-ended nib?
Oh, I don't remember which one it was.
Let's see if anybody here can name the marker that we discovered had a double nib.
That's right.
They weren't even telling on their... Nobody knew. We discovered it together. I remember. Right. So this is the Copic tool that pulls nibs out if you're interested. We have a link to it in our Amazon storefront under the marker category if you want a little tool that does that for you so you don't have to get blue or whatever color on your fingers.
Danny says she's firmly reminding herself that she's not... that she's doing no spend 2020.
Ooh, that's such a good goal. I am proud of you because I am not doing that at all.
We got several people saying, oh, hoo-hoo.
Oh, hoo-hoo, very good.
That's right, their brush, aren't
They're brush nibs,
right.
yeah. And we were goofing around with the nib and we pulled it out here and I went, I remember that moment.
And this is the meanest full set syndrome, I have to say.
This is really mean.
Because now you're talking...
A full set of that, a full set of that, a full set of that.
Pastels. And...
Yeah, because now I want the pastels. Now, having said that, let me tell you what my plan is. Okay? Because I can't afford a full set of all of these. There's just no way. I mean, I would have to have 1 million subscribers and yeah, and I'd have to sell my soul to every company as a advertiser. I mean, there's no way. So, what you can do, and this is my plan, is because we already have the tritones figured out, the 36, the basic 36 that you need, the light, medium, and dark for every color on the color wheel. We've already established that with the Polychromos. So now that I've kind of made my test and realized that this is going to work, all I really need is those 36 in each of the sets, and maybe another black and a white. So now that's 38, and maybe a brown, and maybe a tan. So I could do some easy nature scenes.
Well, and skin tones. And...
Yeah, and that's maybe it. So you could probably get away with just maybe 36 to 40 of each. And then you would feel like you have a full set of the tritones. You don't really need all of them. And then that would get you started, and you can start playing around with how you can use them side by side, like we were playing around with laying down a base layer of the Albrecht Durer and then coming in with your Polychromos on top. And how does that work? Do I like working that way? And if you have the 36 of the Albrecht Durers and the 36 of the Polychromos, you can start experimenting with that and decide, do I even like this? Maybe you love it and now it's time to invest in all the Albrecht Durers. That's my plan. I'm not going to dive in with the hundreds of dollars on all of them right up front. I don't think.
No.
Steve's like, no, you're not. We can't afford that. We really, really can't. But that's kind of where we were headed. When Steve went back into the store, that's what he was looking at. He took the actual printout. Let's see, I think I've got it somewhere. We have a printout. I'm going to show you exactly what it looks like. Oh, I almost knocked over something behind me. Sorry, Steve. Oh, it's right here. Oh, this is the Tombow one, but it will show you what I'm talking about. So when you become a premium member or a colorist apprentice or a partner, you'll have access to our tritones, and there are brand specific tritones. Tombow's one of them, but so is the Polychromos. I want to show you the Polychromos. We're here for Faber-Castell, not for Tombow. So I'm going to get out, I think in this book, here's my Prismacolor, Polychromos. Okay, good. All right, right here. This is where the magic is, right here. This chart has every color on the color wheel and our picks for the light, medium, and dark for every color. So if you got this one and then you said, okay, I'm going to try this new system and do the Polychromos and the Albrecht Durer watercolor pencils, then these are the 36 you would get, and then kind of decide, well, maybe I want a brown and I want to try the black and the white and add just a couple extra. Yeah, maybe a gray. Of course, with watercolor, you can mix these colors and get all those colors. But if you want shortcut pencils like I do, you need a brown and you need those kinds of tones. So that would get you going, and you don't need to buy the entire set. So as a if you want to come in as a colorist for $5, you've got this. Print this out or save the PDF to your phone and head off to Blick. And then you can purchase these pencils and you've got them and you're rolling.
Well, if the Gold Faber match also, which it sounds like they do,
yeah,
and you got a more budget-friendly version. And Anna Cherie asked, have you ever thought about student-grade watercolor products to color with?
Yeah, and we'd love to do that too with these. And I've got last week, if you haven't watched last week's video, we pulled out a whole bunch of different brands and did some comparing between different brands. So watch last week's video. The reason we've done this video today is simply because I was astonished to learn that Faber-Castell had this color system between tools, and so I wanted to prove it out and see if this was true, because this opens up some fun coloring possibilities.
Which, speaking of that, I want to see Polychromos on top of that red swatch you did of the Albrecht Durers now.
Oh, okay.
So has it dried yet?
Probably. Well, and I've been laying things on top of it, so yeah. So you can buy these books that have all of the swatches ready to go. This one is been printed on watercolor paper. If you're interested, that book that you saw with the Polychromos is more like the version you would get if you printed it on your own. Say you became a colorist today for $5. You can download all the Polychromos information and print it out and put it in a 3-ring binder like you just saw. Or you can order a pre-printed book on the nice high quality papers. We have brand specific, or we even have brand generic, or we have the quick color picker, which is more for, I don't want to color all my swatches. I just want you to tell me colors and I'll just get started.
It's more like show you colors, because it doesn't tell you which colors to pick.
Right. So this one would be like, okay, I want to do some coloring with blue green, and then you would hold your pens up and say, okay, this one looks really similar to this blue green 4, so I'm going to use my Pitt pen for this one. That's how this book works. So there's lots of options in our quick color picking system. Okay, having said that, Steve wants to see what the Polychromos on top of the Albrecht Durer would look like. Look at that. It just... And that's just light pressure, so I could lean in. Let me get out of the way so you can use the other camera if you want. Lean in. Look how pretty. All the white just... And it's so hard to get rid of the white on watercolor paper because it's so textured. So over here where I didn't lift it, see how there's just no white. This is just opening up some interesting how we could use the two side by side. This is just really interesting. See if I come over here how the white shows through. And if you burnish in really hard, you can get rid of it. That's medium pressure, and there's still all that white showing.
Yeah, and then your hand's killing.
And then your hand's killing 5 minutes in.
Hurting after.
This is just really exciting. I have to ponder now how we can put this to the best work. That's really cool to me. Okay.
I must be so excited to try it.
Yeah, this is going to be really fun. Okay, so what I want to try real quick before we sign off, here's that, this one's free right now to download. If you follow the link and come on over, let's try the Albrecht Durer watercolor markers on here real quick. Now, this is not watercolor paper, so we're not expecting miracles here. Because they're not going to blend beautifully. They're going to be streaky. We're just reiterating the properties.
What about the Pitt pens instead?
Well, because I want to try the nib.
Oh, okay.
And I want to see how they feel on here. This blue-green marker is overly juicy. It's awesome. So I'm wondering, like, could you do, like, if I wanted that whole... If I wanted this to be like... Except I would use a Polychromos, wouldn't I? Would you do something like that? Oh, I'm going to have to do some experimenting of how we can really put this to really good use. You know what I mean? Like, this is really exciting. How the properties of these can be played with. Yeah, this is really interesting. Okay, so I want to see, like, if you push really hard, how does the nib feel? It feels so much like a Copic nib. It's very interesting. Squeaks like a Copic.
Guess you could get out a Copic and try it.
Yeah.
And a Tombow.
Trying to see if I can get rid of the streaks. Usually with water-based marker on just a regular cardstock, you have to lay down a lot of ink in order to get rid of your streaks, and then there's a moment where the paper just gives up and turns to crumbs. So you have to kind of find that sweet spot where you can bring in your Polychromo for that two-tone effect. Because we know the property of this one is that it has more gray or black in the pigment. Interesting. That's very pretty. Okay, let's try.
Aspie asked if you could use the Polychromos as a resist to edges to stop the ADs from spreading outside lines.
Yeah.
That's an interesting.
The Albrecht Durer, so these are oil or petroleum based, or you know, standard color pencils are either wax or oil or some sort of petroleum base. So they are a great wax resist. So that's what I'm trying to imagine is how can we use these together to get that kind of effect?
Yeah.
There's going to be some cool things we can do. I'm so excited. I'm going to have to come in and just play and experiment and like which papers are going to be the best to do this kind of thing. And okay, let's bring up this is a blue-green Copic. I want to just see how it feels, the nib. Oh, these are way more flexible. And so much easier to not get a streak because it's alcohol based. So that's the difference. The nibs are way more rigid. So yeah, that's interesting. These are like, wee, I'm flexible. I can do the splits. Those two colors are very similar. Okay, so that's good to know. They're just they're different, very different. But I don't know, does it seem less streaky? Not that bad, streaky wise. Not that bad. Let's try the Pitt pen. Let's do the Pitt one right here and see if you can tell. Whoa, he's really squeaky. So remember, the difference between the Pitt and the alcohol marker now is that what I'm laying down right now will be more light fast. So if I hung this picture up in the window, that heart will last the longest. Although this guy says, is he light fast? High light fastness. That would be interesting to see. Let's let these guys dry and see. If I twirl it now, can you tell which one was which? Who's Copic? Who's Pitt? And who's Albrecht Durer? Can you tell? I can tell. Can you tell? He didn't know I was talking to him.
Oh, I thought you were asking them. That's Copic.
Can you tell which one was the Pitt?
Oh, Pitt versus... this is more streaky, and it was a smaller brush, so I would guess it would be that.
Yeah, but color-wise... And you could probably tell that was Copic because of the color.
Yeah.
That's the only way you could tell, huh?
Well, texture's a little different too, but...
Yeah.
Yeah, but I would say what's interesting to me is that the watercolor Albrecht Durer marker doesn't look worse. In fact, if anything, it looks even a little better than the Copic alcohol marker as far as streakiness goes.
Yeah.
If that's what you're trying to...
That's surprising to me. Interesting. Very interesting. All right. Well, I think we have solved or answered the question that we came here to answer. Wouldn't you agree, Steve?
I think so.
That to a really good degree, a non-picky person would say that the colors match satisfactorily between these four tools. Yeah. Now we can't say with the other ones because this is all we got. And we only tested 3 colors.
Right.
But between these 3 colors and these 4 tools, they match satisfactorily. There are slight differences. And the paper definitely helps in some situations. But this is amazing. And it makes me want to really experiment with the tools across them to see what kind of new coloring techniques we can do, how we can push these tools. It's very interesting. I am intrigued, inspired, and creatively excited.
Nice.
Those 3 things. So this was lots of fun. And before we sign off, I need to show you the new things that we purchased at Blick that we couldn't pass up. And it goes along with what we have here in front of us, because you can't buy just one kind of water-soluble pencil now, can you? Because we need to have, dun da da da, the Battle of the Water-Soluble Pencils, part 2, part 3, whatever part it is. Let me show you what we bought. They're right here. Okay. Dun, 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 dun. These 2 right here is what we ended up buying. I'll show you this one first. First of all, we got the Derwent watercolors. We'll bring the camera down the other way so you can see. So we ended up, they had a good sale on these 12-pack kits of these watercolor pencils, so we didn't have to buy open stock. We just bought the 12-pack kits. So Derwent watercolor was one that everybody was saying last week that I needed to get my hands on and give it a swing. So
But
I'm
also
excited.
have the color system.
Yeah, so I'm excited to see. Now I wish we had more of their pencils. I only have 3 of their coloring pencils.
Of their watercolor pencils?
No, these are the watercolor pencils.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Of their Pro Colors, Derwent Pro Colors.
Oh, I thought we had more than that.
Nope, I only have 3. So, yeah, but we have the ink tents. Do they match the ink tent? I don't know.
I don't know.
So many questions to be answered about the Derwent line. And then, dun, 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 the Caran d'Ache. These are the Supra Color Soft top quality water-soluble color pencils.
So we do have the Luminance, so at least we can match those 12.
And we have the Pablo. Okay, we had just a minor bump in the broadcast, and we were just finishing up telling you what we ended up purchasing while we were at Blick. So you can look forward to a future video very soon where we're going to have a battle of the water-soluble pencils. I have these 2 brand new sets of pencils that I haven't opened up yet. Looks like these are the type that you can open up and at least take a little peek at the pencils. They're all under plastic, as you can see. So you can look forward to a future video very soon where we do a battle of more water-soluble pencils. Will these be better than the the Faber-Castell Albrecht Durer watercolor pencils? I don't know. Do the Derwents do what the Faber-Castells do? Match colors from line to line? I don't know. Do the Caran d'Ache do that? I don't know. We have so many questions. So that's why we decided to pick up these 2 little tins, and we'll dive into those and see how these match up. Which ones should you guys buy? Should you buy any? Should you buy them all?
Yes, you should buy them all.
Buy them all? These are the things we're going to answer. So hopefully you had fun tonight and you're as inspired as I am by Faber-Castell. I'm excited about them. None of this was a sponsored video. I think you probably gathered that by now by me talking about how much money we had to spend at Blick. But it was lots of
Arteza
fun.
watercolor pencils?
No, I haven't gotten those yet. Haven't purchased those. So, yeah, that might be one to buy for the battle of the watercolor pencils.
That's right.
Dun, dun, dun. So, so thanks everybody for watching. Make sure you give this video also a thumbs up because I think this will end up being a separate video. So give it another thumbs up. Thanks for watching, everybody. You guys are fantastic, and I hope you had a good time with me. I had fun. I'm going to back up a bit so you can see a cute rose. My beautiful flowers. The Faber-Castell products. You're now inspired. And I hope you all have a wonderful, colorful, blissful day. Bye-bye, everyone.